Hello YouTube family and friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Cynthia from Cynthia's Crafts and More. Just want to give you some updates of what's been going on. Thursday, my brother-in-law Chris had heart surgery. This was, I think, like the 5th one in like a 2-year time frame. They did a defibrillator, like right here, and hooked the leads to his heart. He's doing good. He's not able to move his left arm. For sure it's his left arm. For like 4 weeks because they need to let the connectors and the heart heal together. Otherwise, he's doing really good. And him and my sister both say thank you for all the prayers. Next, my niece Missy and her daughter Willow, as some of you know, they are in a bad situation. They live with Willow's daddy, Missy's partner, and he's very verbally abusive. And he has threatened Missy that if she tries to get custody and to leave him, he will grab her and take her someplace where she'll never see him. So, if those that don't know the situation, if you guys can help pray, I'd greatly appreciate it. My sister and niece would greatly appreciate it. My sister and her husband do live with her daughter and granddaughter and the significant other, and that's being polite about it. He recently was caught. Let's say Missy saw a bunch of text messages to another woman who lives in another state, and he goes and visits, I think, like every couple of months. And while he was up there, he got busted for marijuana, taking it across the state lines and everything. So he's been having to go back and forth, supposedly, for courts, hearings, and stuff like that. With him being out of state, I would think that they would do like video conference calls. But he did violate his probation. Right? Yeah, probation. I'm not sure what the probation is for, but he did violate it by using drugs and by drinking. So we're not sure how his probation officer is handling that, or if he or she even knows. And if Missy or Julie were to call to let him know, he would know right away who basically squealed on him. We would really love for them to be out of that relationship, and that God will intervene, and that Missy will be able to get full joint or full custody over Willow, and that they will be able to move out of state. My sister and her husband are looking at moving back to Wisconsin because their second daughter, Crystal, is due, I want to say within a couple of weeks, having her second baby. So that'll be exciting. And then their son also lives up there. And he just bought a house, so they'd have a place to stay. Um, Next, um, my friend Gerwin over at Jandira Homestead, she broke her leg. I haven't been on in a few days to see how she's doing. Um, but the last video I saw, she had went to do a follow-up visit to see about getting surgery done because there's no way they said that her leg would heal without surgery. And um, her leg was still too swollen for them to go into surgery, which doesn't make sense. You got a broken leg, you go in and you get it fixed. But the doctors will do what the doctors will do, and I just pray that in God's timing that she'll be able to have her leg healed without having to have surgery. But um, that's just my hope, and that's what I pray for. And okay, so if you could pray for her, I'd greatly appreciate it, and I know she would greatly appreciate it. And then next, let's see, today's Sunday, so it'll be a week tomorrow. Carlos came home and he had a major meltdown. When he came home from his adult day program. Carlos is 21 years old. He has been diagnosed with extreme ADHD, moderate bipolar, and moderate cognitive delays. And a few other little minor things that don't really affect him too much except for on listening, which I think most kids don't have that. Um, so I talked to his therapist because I wasn't able to get him to calm down, and because he was threatening to cut his hands off and wishing that he was dead and that he hated his life, he didn't want to be anymore. And of course, that broke my heart to hear him say those things. They suggested that we get him over to a behavioral health center where he was at back in June of last year. So he has been there since Monday. What was that date? The 21st. Um, they have taken him off of one of his meds and put him on something different. They have taken him off another med completely, and they're not going to put him on anything. But he kind of needs that pill because it helps with his tremors that he gets from a side effect of one of his other meds. And also, it helps with his nightmares to keep him down so he doesn't have so many of them. And we do have to watch what he's watched. Be careful what he's watching. A simple scary show that's not a horror movie, he can end up having nightmares, like watching Animal Planet and that they have crocodiles or snakes on there. He'll have dreams about it. That wakes him up in the middle of the night. Sorry, my throat's just really dry. And then they are adjusting a third med, um, which is his Depakote, and the levels are supposed to be between 50 to 100. Well, we had tested, his therapist tested his levels because she does that every 2 to 3 months. uh, especially if he starts having behavior issues. He was at a 124, so she reduced his Depakote. Well, then he dropped within a week down to 51. Between that level of dropness and being a full moon that weekend, um, really messes with him. New moon and full moon, like either a day, 2 days before, the day of, and maybe a day or two after. Well, this time around, it went hit him a day, started like the day after. And um, and then a couple days later is when he had his meltdown. So when I talked to him last night, actually he told my husband, his dad, that he would probably get to come home maybe this coming Wednesday, which is March 30th. But then a couple hours later, when I talked to him, it's possibly Thursday. Then again, today he's saying Thursday, maybe longer, depending on how he's doing with all his med adjustments. And they've also put him on high blood pressure meds, high cholesterol meds, and diabetes meds. And that just breaks my heart that he has to be on that at such a young age. High cholesterol and high blood pressure meds. And his PCP has been watching it. Well, the doctors at the behavioral health hospital have been watching it also, and they felt because it wasn't going down, they put him on it. And the first probably 3 or 4 days, all he really would do was sleep. He made it to a couple therapy sessions. They do a morning therapy session as a group, and then they do individual therapy sessions, along with meeting with the doctors and the med management doctors like every other day, every couple days, I think. But yesterday and today he sounded better. When I talked to him tonight, he sounded really tired and frustrated because not getting his multivitamins, not getting his fish oil. Well, they don't give those. Last time he was in, we were able to take up um, the multivitamin and the fish oil as long as it was in the original bottle. Not a problem. They gave him this time. They're not giving it to him, so we're not sure what's going on with that. And then he said that he hasn't been getting his inhaler. He needs to have his asthma inhaler for when he does activities like swimming, basketball, um, when he's going to be doing a lot of movement. So I told him, I said, well, you just need to keep after him. So if you guys keep him in your prayers, I'd greatly appreciate it. And then me. Okay, as most of you know, I was in the hospital March 3rd with difficulty breathing and everything. Turned out I had bronchitis with the start of pneumonia. They just kept me one night because I was feeling a lot better, and with the antibiotics and the steroids they had me on, they said it was okay for me to go home. So I went home, did really good, finished up all my meds, And then the following week, 10th, I had some tests done, and they did several biopsies. They did a colonoscopy, and they, I want to say, took 6 biopsies in the colon, and the test results came back on those, and 2 of them are like a precancerous polyps, but they believe they were able to get everything from what the pathologist um, has stated, and then the other 2 were just benign, no worries. Oh, excuse me, the other 4. And then they did an endoscopy, and they took several, I think it was 7 biopsies of my esophagus and my stomach and the smaller intestines. And those came back good, except one of the tests that they were doing was for celiac disease. The test came back, blood work and the little biopsies came back showing there's no celiac disease, but I have, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it offhand. It mimics celiac disease. So, but I do got to be very careful what I eat because it will cause pain, like right in through here, and that's where like the esophagus and the stomach join. And then basically what happens is it goes down into the stomach, and then where it goes, the connection from the stomach to the small intestine, the food doesn't absorb properly because of all the years of um, chronic stress and different health issues. They just say I have chronic gastritis, and that's eaten away at the lining. So I gotta be real careful, with what I eat because of that. So I've been journaling ever since, everything that I eat, and if it causes pain. There was a couple meals I had where I did have some pain, so the next time, it was like a couple days later, I had the same thing, except for I ate one item and then I waited a few hours to see how I would do. I did fine. And then I ate the other items. And what I had cottage cheese with fresh sliced strawberries mixed in. And then also I had some sweet potato chips. And that's, I don't know if it was just maybe the combination of it um, that caused the pain and discomfort. Because when I've eaten the ones individually, not a problem. So, then being with steroids, I gained, it was like 12 pounds in a week, which doesn't help with any of the pressure and stuff like that. And while they were doing the endoscopy, they had to dilate my throat, the esophagus, because let's say this is your throat, and this is what mine was looking like. So it's getting like closed off, which is the reason why I've been having problems breathing and eating. Um, So they dilated it out. And the first couple days, my throat was very sore. It hurt to talk. So I really didn't make too many I think I might have made one video to let everybody know how I was doing. Um, and then I just ate soft, kind of liquid foods for like 2 days. And then I slowly added solid foods. Um, with the stress of what happened this past Monday, um, I've been getting a lot of pain um, in the same area. And I was hoping, and I noticed that even though I'm drinking lots of water and cranberry juice and some Gatorade, my skin just feels really dry. So I was getting concerned that I was dehydrated. Um, so I did go back into the hospital Saturday afternoon. Um, they did, because I called Cigna's, that's what I have my insurance through, Cigna's nursing hotline, and explained to them what was going on and everything. And it's like, you need to get to the emergency room like now. You need to call 911 and have them come get you and hook you up on monitors, hook you up to an IV, whatever they need to do. And then they'll get you to the hospital and the doctors will do whatever test. I'm like, well, I'm only like 2 miles from the hospital. So I just had my husband take me. She goes, no, what if something happens? That puts your life in danger, his life in danger. I was like, okay, I'm not a fixed income lady. I can't afford a ambulance bill. So I just had my husband take me. And we were there maybe a half hour. I mean, as soon as I was doing the registration, I didn't even get out of the registration chair, and they had one of the nurses come and get me and take me to do an EKG. Then they brought me back out to the waiting room at the emergency. Sorry, my dog was. And I was maybe 15, 20 minutes there. And then they had me back in triage and then back out into the waiting room because I had to do my vitals and all that. My weight, because I was having such chest pains and lightheadedness and stuff. They just asked me what my weight was, so I told them. And went back out to the waiting room, was there maybe, I want to say another 15 minutes before they had a room available to take me back into the emergency department. There, the doctors did some blood work. They did end up doing another EKG because since I had my procedure, I've been having some irregular heart rhythms when I do my blood pressure. And I do my blood pressure like maybe 4 or 5 times a day. And I've been checking my blood sugars. And my blood sugars have been high, which I know steroids can do that. And when I was home, my blood pressure was fine. My oxygen levels seemed fine, so I was wondering if blood sugars or if maybe I started getting bronchitis or pneumonia again, which has happened after I've been off of them for like a week or so, especially since I had the surgical procedure. They had to put me under. We were there, I think it was, once we got into the back room, like 4 hours. But when they had me in triage, my blood pressure was like 132/83. So that was at like 245. So I'm looking at my notes. And then when they got me back into an actual room, they had me on the pressure cuff, and lady comes in and she goes, 107/something. I said, yeah, that's my normal blood pressure. She goes, okay, well, that's good. And then when I got home, because the doctor said that all my blood work were fine, my blood pressure was fine, he did have them give me like 4 baby aspirin or chewable aspirin things. Just but from what the x-rays showed, my heart looks fine. And the blood work to check for the heart enzymes, they were all within the normal levels. He truly thinks that it is my COPD that's been causing me the problems. But then sitting out in the waiting room and then laying on those hospital beds in the emergency department, not all that comfortable. So I've been having a lot of problems, pain with my back. And even though I've been taking my neuropathy pain meds and rotating between the medical marijuana that my husband made for me into brownies, between that and the CBD oil that I get to help with the pain, it just really hasn't touched the pain levels. So we are supposed to get a rain shower. I mean, the temperatures are going to be dropping like, okay, so yesterday and today the highs were in the 90s. And tomorrow it's supposed to drop, I think, 10 or 15 degrees. And then by Tuesday, Wednesday, we're supposed to be in the 60s. And that just plays havoc on my body. But today I just been resting and just trying to chill, get lost from my dogs. Been going back and forth between my bedroom and the living room. My bedroom was getting really hot, and Keith got things like, the fans on winter mode. So he came in and checked. Yep, sure enough. So he flipped it to spring summer mode, and it cooled down in here real quick. Still a little bit warm, but better than what it has been. I'm gonna tip there. And get into the dentist to get that prepped, and then I'm gonna take the crown off that one, and they're gonna make a bridge. And then once they get that done, I'll get my lower partial. Yay! Plus that'll help make it easier to eat again. Okay, so back to yesterday. So yesterday I get home, pull up Banner Thunderbird Hospital, pull up my information, and I'm looking at the blood pressure. And they were basically going between 132, 183, 107, And then around 7 o'clock, my blood pressure was at 153/84. And I think I agree with the doctor that stress from this past week with our son and the rest of this beginning of this month with my health issues that I've been dealing with. And then finding out the day after I have my procedure, actually it was 2 days later, I got a call from my sister that my mom's brother passed away. So that was kind of a big stressor. That was her only sibling, and she has Alzheimer's, and she just doesn't comprehend what has happened. And we lost my Aunt Mary, his wife, last year due to complications of COPD. My uncle had been sick, and but he refused to go to the doctors. So I think he had a heart attack, because there was no suspicion of foul play. They're not going to do an autopsy, and I don't think my aunt Mary's sister, I call her Aunt Jan, and their brother Stan, um, just didn't feel it necessary to do an autopsy. But my mom is in the will with Jan and Stan, and because my mom's cognitive abilities isn't there to understand what's happening, my sister Amy and my brother Bobby, who are my mom's financial executors, stepped in and have been talking with Jan and getting different things arranged and what needs to be done. They did cremate him because Mary was cremated last year, and that was their wishes. They didn't want any services. So we're going to work on getting some of their ashes. Trying to think what else is going on. That's about it. That's about it. More than somebody needs to go through. But through this whole time, I've been keeping my eyes on the Lord and praying, listening to Christian music. That really helps me to calm down. Or my friend Joy over at Joy Bless Life, she has several videos that are just nature videos. Nature sounds, everything. I mean, it's just so peaceful. And I'll sit and watch those. So if you don't know Joy, go check her channel out over at Joy Bless Life. I think that's about it. And if you don't know Carolyn, over at Jandera Homestead, it's Janderra Homestead, and she is over in Australia. Both of the ladies are very sweet, and I know I can count on them for prayers. They know they can count on me for prayers and get prayer warriors going. Oh, tomorrow, which would be Monday the 28th, I do go in the afternoon for a bone density scan. And then my mammogram. I have been having some pain on the right side, and I'm hoping it's nothing. And that's just the muscle tissue breaking down from because of the autoimmune disease that I have. Excuse me. Okay. I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I do have other appointments coming up too. I just can't think of what they are offhand. So, but I wanted to give you guys all a heads up, let you know what's going on, and thank you for the prayers. If you could continue to pray for my family, I'd greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you. God bless. Let's pray for peace. Till next time, I love you, and God loves you. God bless.